If everyone would please stand for the national anthem. Gentlemen, please remove your hats. Please be seated. Welcome and thank you for attending the commencement ceremony for the Springfield High School class of 2013. I would like to acknowledge that the class of 2013 will be accepted by our superintendent, Mr. Robert Lemming, and our diplomas will be awarded this evening by board members Judith Johnson, Adam Lopez, and Donna Moore. Thank you. Before we begin, I would like to take this time to make a few announcements. We ask at this time that you turn your cell phones to silent. We ask that you take a seat and remain seated for the duration of the ceremony as to not block the view for others. Please refrain from talking loudly or using noisemakers so everyone can hear the speakers and enjoy the ceremony. We ask that you please remain seated at the end of the ceremony to allow all the graduates to make their exit. We will now begin with a welcome from the president of the class, Ms. Natalie Knox.
Good evening, and welcome to the graduation ceremony for the Springfield High School class of 2013. I couldn't be more excited to be here with all of you today. As I searched through Pinterest and YouTube looking for inspiration, I found plenty of clever yet humorous ideas to reflect on. But then, sitting in my AP Biology final, I had a better idea. Why not ask the SHS staff for their best advice for us? They have, after all, been with us for 4 years, witnessing our triumphs, failures, and everything in between. So, without further ado, here's what our teachers really think about the class of 2013. Senora Kuhn will remember us as the most compassionate class she has ever taught. She also gives a special shout out to the best Spanish club officers she's ever had. Mr. Middlestat remarks that our class had a great combination of being both intelligent and nice, and that we made our teachers have better days. Miss LeBlanc, who herself is graduating from SHS this year, advises us to keep calm and carry on. Mr. Adkins notes that graduation is not an end or a beginning, but rather a moment in our continued development as a person. We will continue to learn, work, and grow in our endeavors as life goes on. Mrs. Greco, of course, reminds us that we will always be a senator, no matter how close or far from Springfield High we may be. And Mrs. Taft says, to the class of 2013, you are the very first class I taught, and though I remember that first year to be rough, I learned so much from all of you. I will never forget the challenges, but most of all, I will never forget any of you, how hard you worked, and how we grew together. We made it to senior year. So, as you can see, we are absolutely a remarkable class. We are capable of accomplishing great things wherever our lives may take us. Thank you, and have a great night.
I would like to start my speech by giving a round of applause to Ms. Goldberg and the band. Ms. Goldberg, you knew you loved having me in band class those 3 years. And to Mrs. Warren, I never got a chance to thank you for that referral you gave me for flagrant disrespect the week after I transferred out of band class. Well, you did it. You went to Springfield High School for 6,480 hours, or 7,560 hours if you had a 0 hour. What did you do during your time there? Many of you had to endure couples making out on your locker. Some of you broke school records in sports that will be remembered for years to come. And a few of you realized that there is no toilet paper in the men's bathroom. If you invested in Tesla Motors the day you started high school, that would mean you had made over 400% gain on your original capital. This means that you could have potentially used 1 year's college tuition to pay for the next 3. It's hard to make these judgment calls, but hindsight is always 20/20, eh? It's important to realize that we wouldn't be here today without the help of our parents, teachers, guidance counselors, physical therapists, parole officers, and friends. But in all honesty, we would not be here today if it wasn't for these wonderful people. Let's give them a round of applause. If you believe you made it here today on your own, well, I'm going to use a psychology term. You are delusional. So what are you going to do today after the ceremony? Most of us have absolute killer graduation parties to get to. 3009 Millbank Lane at 7:30. It will be awesome. And some of you are going to make some mistakes tonight that you deeply regret later. I'm talking to you, guy in the back row, not listening to my speech. The class of 2013 had some pretty good memories this year, despite a less than stellar senior prank. Here's a summary of what we are going to leave behind at SHS next year. For one, a widespread paper shortage, so no more physics tests on yellow cardboard. Those wind-soft tissues that are worse than blowing your nose in sandpaper. A possible ban on bro tanks. And finally, the lack of toilet paper in the men's bathroom. According to SHS, the senior class received a combined total of $10 million in scholarship offers. If you do the math, that breaks down to over $32,000 per person. Does anyone else feel cheated? While I'm talking about math, I should probably tell you that on average, high school graduates earn $130,000 more over their lifetime than peers who drop out of school. Whoever took that study obviously didn't talk to the guy who created Tumblr. He dropped out of high school at the age of 15 and just 3 weeks ago sold his company to Yahoo for $1.1 billion. That's billion with a B. And the list of college dropouts who have gone on to be successful is even longer. But when you think about it, is money the best indicator of success? I looked through the SHS classes of 1990 and 91 yearbooks 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't help but notice that in all of the photos for the students voted most likely to succeed, they had $1 bills clasped in their hands. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that the phrase most likely to succeed doesn't specify what exactly the students are going to succeed in. What about someone who overcame a tough personal challenge? Is that person not successful as well? Sure, everyone likes money. It's how we value goods and services. But just looking at the phrase, most likely to succeed from a monetary viewpoint seems shallow to me. Sometime in the very near future, every one of us will hopefully enter the real world. I say hopefully because I've met some teachers in my lifetime that act more like high school students than anyone I know. The real world I'm talking about is not some temporary fairyland where the most important thing in your life is what you got on that Calc 2 test. You will have to provide for yourself, and maybe later your spouse and children. This means finding a job, and if you're lucky, contributing to society. Thankfully, Obama's got our back, and if you have troubles finding a job, he'll provide for you, granted you pay a 30% income tax when you do find a job. If you do have any dreams that involve risk, now is the time to take them, when you don't have any other people that depend on you. Right now, if you mess up and go broke, the only person that has to go hungry is you. If you have half a heart, you realize that disappointing yourself is a lot less stressful than disappointing your family because you went bankrupt on a bad business deal. To the majority of you here today who plan on entering the job market, let me paint a picture of one of your typical mornings a few years from now. Sometime in the not-so-distant future, you will find yourself stuck in traffic on the LA highway and think to yourself, my life can't possibly get any worse. When this moment happens, just think to yourself, there are many people out there who wish they could only have to put up with the struggles you face instead of worrying about where they're going to get their next meal from. The struggles that you and I face every day, I like to refer to as first world problems. They are a lot easier to deal with than the problems faced by people living in poorer countries. It's important to realize that the situation you have been given in life is way better than what other people have been given, and be thankful for what you do have. After attending both of my sister's graduation ceremonies, I know from personal experience that there's nothing worse than a valedictorian speech that goes on for 20 minutes. So before you get your phone out and start tweeting #FirstWorldProblems, I'd like to thank you all again for coming out today and wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Now we'll have the SHS choir members come to sing a song for us.
Hop to the hop, rockin' bang bang, boogie rhythm. I said a hop
Hippie,
to the hop, rockin' bang bang,
boogie,
boogie rhythm.
boogie the beat.
I said a hop
Hippie,
to the
Hip,
hop,
don't stop,
rockin' bang bang,
boogie,
stay up.
boogie rhythm.
Of the
boogie the beat.
I said a hop
Hippie,
Hippie,
to the
hip,
hop,
and you don't stop,
rockin'
to the
bang bang,
boogie,
stay up.
Jump
boogie
to the
rhythm.
rhythm.
boogie the beat.
I said a hop
Hippie.
Hippie,
to the
Hip,
hop,
and you don't stop,
rockin'
To the-
bang bang,
boogie,
stay up.
Jump
boogie
to the rhythm.
Of the
boogie the beat.
I said a hop
Hippie.
Hippie,
to the
hip,
hop,
and you don't stop,
rockin'
To the-
bang bang,
boogie,
stay up.
Jump
boogie
to the
rhythm.
rhythm.
boogie the beat.
I said a hop
Hippie.
Hippie,
to the hop,
And you don't stop,
rockin' bang bang,
boogie,
stay up.
Jump
boogie
to the
rhythm.
rhythm.
boogie the beat.
I said a hop to the hop,
And you don't stop,
rockin' bang bang,
stay up.
boogie to the rhythm.
Boogie the beat.
I said a hop
Hippie,
to the hop,
And you don't stop,
rockin' bang bang,
boogie,
stay up.
boogie to the rhythm.
boogie the beat.
The time is right. Come on, make it right. Let's get together. Come on, let's get together. Come tomorrow. Let's all get together. Good times. Please God, good times. Leave your cares behind. Please God, good times.
Senior class of 2013, we're done! Another one bites the dust. We've done it. This song is all for you guys.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Get up, 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 get up.
Are you ready?
one bites the dust.
Around the world, 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 around the world.
Good times,
And another one gone, another one got to dust.
good times,
Around the world,
behind.
and another one gone, another one got to dust.
Good times,
Around the world, around. Let's hop, hip to the hip, hip hop, don't stop, run to the bang bang. Say up, jump, the rhythm, the beat. Say the hip hop, a hip to the hip hop, don't stop, run to the bang bang. Around the world, around. Good times.
Is this a speech right here?
No. Wait, maybe. Oh, this is a speech. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. Wait a second.
We should probably get all this stuff out here.
Right now. You think so?
Yeah, so we can use it.
I think that's it.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the graduation of Hazel Dell. I mean Springfield High, class of 2013.
Or maybe we should rename this the celebration of Jake, Natalie, and Ansi's achievements over the years. After all, the only award they didn't get on senior night was Representative Boy and Girl.
We were elected as the representatives of this graduating class to give a speech, yet we weren't elected most likely to succeed or teacher's pet. We were, however, voted best legs
You said.
and class clown.
Just give me a second. Okay. It's fitting that we're the last high school in Springfield to graduate in this building, seeing as we've been last the past 2 years at City Tournament.
Now, we aren't trying to shame the boys basketball team, but you guys kind of did it to yourselves. I mean, after all, the girls basketball team won more games this year than you guys have in 4 years.
Even our girls softball team won more games, and we all know how hard those wins are to come by.
But besides the girls basketball team, who finished 26-4 this year in the highest class in the state, there have been other teams that have succeeded as well. Our football team, led by new coach R.J. Luke, had an inspiring win against Jacksonville in our homecoming game.
The boys cross-country team swept city, won conference, regionals, and finished in the top 10 in the state along with the girls team. The volleyball team won city and finished with a record of 26-8.
Wrestling, boys swimming, and girls swimming all won city, and girls swimming won sectionals.
Girls tennis placed second at sectionals and advanced 2 girls, Miriam and Janique, wherever you are, to state. Boys golf won regionals and finished 21-2.
Our cheerleading team won the coveted Banana Spirit Award. Not entirely sure what that means, but it must be important. Scarlet Line made it to state and blew the roof off at city tournament.
Boys soccer won regionals and were conference champions.
Boys track won city for the 5th straight year and brought home 2 All-Staters, Malik and Torgi. Girls track also brought home an All-State 4x4 led by seniors Miriam and Christina. Okay, let's see. The arts here at SHS are just as phenomenal.
This year, in the Scholastic Art Awards, our students received 15 gold and silver keys and 40 honorable mentions. Our students also got first place in the Earth Day Awareness Refrigerator Contest.
And we can't forget how amazing Cats was.
I mean, the director was my brother, so it had to be awesome.
As we look back over the past 4 years, we've had some pretty memorable teachers.
It's never a good thing when students fight, but it's even worse when our teachers do it. Just ask Frau Wonneberger how her shoulder feels.
Other teachers will never change, and if you've seen a group of seniors roaming the halls during class, they most likely come from Miss Esselhees, because after all, she did let me skip class because I told her I had lacrosse practice.
Who knew we had a lacrosse team at SHS?
And if you're looking for a competitive teacher, look no further than Mrs. Pence and her famous basketball glasses. And Mr. Myers, if you're here, we just want you to know, we did not copy Tim's speech.
And if any of you don't want to be here, the door isn't locked. This isn't a prison. Just leave.
And that means you, Ronte, wherever you are.
Where are we? Oh, yeah. Now we're going to give you a glimpse of what it's like to attend SHS.
The day starts off with announcements, unless your teacher's too lazy to read them, but if you're in Senora Kuhn's class, you can count on hearing every word down to the syllable of what's on the announcements.
Sometimes the power goes out for periods of time, but we want to let everyone know that the lights are back on. The lights are back on.
Tim mentioned this earlier, but you also never know what color paper your test will be on, because apparently white paper is more expensive than color paper, and our district can't afford that.
Some people mistake our school for a factory, while others mistake it for a wrestling ring. I mean, we did have 3 fights in one day among the seniors that put us behind the juniors and lost us free ice cream.
But luckily, the title of class representative comes with free ice cream.
But on a serious note, Springfield High was a pretty cool place to attend high school.
This school is filled with dedicated teachers and administrators who have helped us mature from the annoying, obnoxious freshmen to the successfully prepared senators we are today.
The senior class even broke a record this year for the most scholarship offers for any SHS graduating class ever. Over $10 million was offered to this class.
We also have 3 of our students that were accepted and will be attending service academies in the fall.
Where is that?
Over the past 4 years.
Over the past 4 years, we have had to juggle friends, school, extracurriculars, and sleep.
And some of us have mastered this.
Some haven't. I can't wait for our first reunion so I can see all of what this class has accomplished.
I just can't wait to see who goes bald.
You may be next. Anyway, we would like to thank all of the teachers and administrators, especially Mrs. LeBlanc, Mrs. Yogerst, Mr. Crum, and Mrs. Curry, who will be leaving us, sadly.
They deserve a round of applause. We would also like to thank all of the parents and guardians that helped with sports, volunteered at various events, and put up with us for the past 18 years.
We will always remember where we came from, and we know that wherever we may go and succeed, we will always be senators.
Thank you, and turn up.
Put this away later.
It's going all down there.
Now the choir will sing again.
of you, Springfield High, and memories of friends so dear, cause reflections of our youthful days that brought both smiles and tears. And as time keeps passing by, loyal senators will always be. Our pride will follow through our lives. We'll be faithful to you. We'll be grateful and true. We love you, oh Springfield High.
Seniors, this is it. After we leave today, we will no longer be students at Springfield High. We will be alumni, joining the ranks of many notable members of society, including professional athletes such as Justin Nodler, former catcher for the San Francisco Giants, poet Vachel Lindsay, and Jared Palomar, bassist for the band Augustana. Just as many as our parents, grandparents, and other relatives left their legacy at Springfield High, we too made a lasting impression. Our names are etched onto plaques, written in newspaper articles, and known throughout this city and state as representatives of Springfield High. Now, it is our turn to leave the comforts of our school and make a name for ourselves. While this may seem like a daunting task, know that every graduate sitting here is doing the exact same thing. Look to your left, your right. Each and every one of us will transition into a new stage of our lives. While we might not all have the same plans for after graduation, know that there is a support system here for you. Your family and friends are here because they love you. Never be afraid to ask for their advice, as I know they could offer helpful words of wisdom. Speaking of advice, I have just one thought to share with you today. As we anticipate going off to college or joining the military or workforce, it is easy to get caught up in all that the future has in store for us. I, myself, tend to fantasize about my dream life, in which I have a great job, cute home, and precious, perfect family. You could say that I'm a planner. I like to know exactly how things are going to work in advance. I enjoy making lists, because somehow crossing off individual tasks makes it seem that I get closer to the ultimate goal. But what is that ultimate goal? Is life really about what job we have or where we live? Sometimes I need to be reminded to slow down and enjoy the little moments which make up our lives. To live is to enjoy being present in the current situation instead of dwelling on the past or anticipating the future. We don't get bonus points for deciding ahead of time what our children's names should be or thinking about how we should have studied more for that chemistry final. Instead, we should focus on the present. Being present is all about being open to the current moment unfolding before you. After all, today is a great moment I don't think you want to miss. Take in everything that's around you. Know that you won't see many of the people around you ever again, and appreciate them for who they are. When your friends and family congratulate you, really let it sink in. It is quite an accomplishment to graduate from high school, and you deserve all the praise that you have received and will continue to receive. As you move forward in your lives, though, I urge you, enjoy the last few weeks with your family and friends. Enjoy the adventures that next year will bring. Enjoy the small moments. Life is made up of these moments, so be present and appreciate them. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2013.
It is with great honor and pride that I present the class of 2013. This class is approximately 94% continuing their education by either attending colleges, universities, or technical schools. Several students have chosen to honor their country by serving the armed forces as well. Over the last 4 years, the class of 2013 has worked tirelessly to accomplish their goals. One of their goals for post-secondary life was to earn scholarships to help pay for school. I'm pleased to be the third person to say that through all their hard work over the last 4 years, it's paid off literally, with the class earning just over $10.3 million in scholarships offers. But I want you to understand that the hard work does not stop now. This is only the beginning. The truly hard work lies ahead for you all as you move forward in life. A quote by Vince Lombardi comes to mind when talking about work. The dictionary is the only place that success comes before work. Hard work is the price we must pay for success. I think you can accomplish anything if you're willing to pay the price. With that being said, I wish you all the very best and nothing but success. At this time, Mr. Lemming, it is my great pleasure to present to you the Springfield High School class of 2013, and I hereby certify that these students have met the graduation requirements of Springfield School District 186 and the state of Illinois.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure and honor to be here this afternoon and sharing your celebration and to, in a few minutes, assist in passing out diplomas and validating this 4-year experience or a 13-year experience, however you look at it. Before we do that, though, I have a couple points I'd like to make. One is, as we work on the budget this summer, I promise we'll take care of that tissue problem in the boys' bathroom. That's number one on the list. Having said that, I do want to make a few remarks about what I believe. And I think a lot of people believe, and I'm sure you've heard this before from your teachers and your parents and family members, but I think it's worth repeating that you need a little bit of a plan. I'm going to make 5 points here. One is to think big. Think real big. Now, I just heard Mr. Grossen say that 94% of you all are going to go on to college. That's awesome. That's tremendous. It would be even better if 94% complete and get a bachelor's degree, but no matter what, you got to pursue a higher education. That's extremely important. There's other pathways as well. The military I've heard mentioned, and I noticed at your, absolutely, and I was at your your recognition assembly as well, and I know that some of your graduates, your classmates are heading off to the military academies, and it's very impressive, and I wish all of you that are going to the military well. Some of you will seek employment training, and some of you will go into employment. No matter what, on these pathways, they're all awesome, they're all important, and what I encourage you to do is to do your best. I hate to use sports analogies, but I'm going to use one. Baseball and softball players know there's a lot of ways to score runs. Well, there is in life too. And these pathways are extremely important, and I hope you get on one and follow one. Know this for sure, that the money you will earn going forward the rest of your life will be pretty much equal to the education that you have. And there's a lot of research on that, a lot of study on that, and they're fairly somewhat equal. So if the financial thing defines you, there's a lot more in life than just that, but that for sure, a higher education will lead you in the right direction. Number 2, there's blockers out there, people that will stand in your way, people that will discourage you, people that will hold you back, maybe not intentionally, but maybe just their negative ways. And we know those kind of people, and I know them too. You got to walk right through those people, and don't let anybody hold you back. You got to go for it. Don't allow it. Don't let anybody block you as you head towards your goals. Number 3, whatever you do, do it well. Make an investment, commit to it, and stay with it. It's easy sometimes to give up, to slow down, to back off, but that goes back to this other stuff, that commitment and what you want to be. And you know, I'm getting up there in the years myself, and I'm still working on what I want to be when I grow up. Commit to it. Number 4, know that there are people in life who refuse to accept holding back of many things in their life and went on to be very, very successful. And I think these people are great role models for all of us. And I just want to mention a couple. Albert Einstein, if you're in this room tonight, you know who he is. And Albert Einstein was refused acceptance in several colleges as he left high school. I think that's amazing. But he didn't give up, and he went on to be the physicist that we all know and have heard of. Second person is Beethoven. Beethoven, that we all know, was the great musician and became deaf, wrote terrific symphonies. That was not a barrier for him. Losing his hearing and wrote those kind of symphonies, I think is just incredible. One of our presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was paralyzed below his hips and spent most of his life in a wheelchair, was elected president 4 times, changed the Constitution because of that guy. You can only, you know, there's term limits now, but his handicap or his disability was never a barrier for his success. Jim Carrey, the known comedian that I think we've all heard of, grew up in, I wouldn't say poverty, but at times in his life was homeless. His parents had a tough time. He overcame that, and we all enjoy his comedy today. And then finally, I think we've all heard of Oprah Winfrey. She grew up in poverty. The story that amazes me is the potato sack dress stories, and yet we all know what she's went on to do in her life. So there's no such things as barriers. If you want to be something, you got to go for it. And then finally, the 5th point is the saddest thing of all, is people that have skill and talent and don't use it. That is a real, the person that fails miserably who has all the gifts is something I don't even want to think about. People fail because they don't have goals or a vision for themselves. They're afraid of failure, or maybe they're afraid of success, but don't let that be you. Use your tools, use your gifts, and use your skills to be successful. When you walk out of this place today, folks, you're out of high school. It's done. It's over. And I don't know if that's daunting or not, but it certainly is realistic. And I hope you have a plan. I really, in my heart, I believe you probably do. When I heard 94% are going to college, I know there's military plans and everything else, but really, really have a vision for yourself. Fear nothing. Knock down those barriers as you go forward in life. Have big ideas and pursue them. Don't let anything get in your way. Having said that, I congratulate you all, and I accept the recommendation of your principal, Mr. Grossen, and we will begin the ceremonies to award your diplomas to the class of 2013.
Timothy John Miller.
Natalie Ann Knox.
Nathan Hoffman.
Catherine Jennifer Stuva.
Philip Matthew Keynes.
Julia Adamchevsky.
Ansi Aaron Camel.
Alakim Miriam Agama.
Kayla Elizabeth Carrick.
Ryan Frank Aguirre.
Masoka Kashindi.
Amris Chanel Ali Johnson.
Harmony Krista Ketchum.
Mark William Allen.
Jeffrey Nolan Kilo Curry.
Cassandra August Angermeyer.
Danielle Chelsea King.
Taylor Renee Arvidsson.
Ian Patrick Kinsley.
John Dyson Asher.
Jason Joseph Kokat.
William Dyson Asher.
Ryan Lewis Cornick.
Danica Jasmine Bailey.
Christina Judith Cropid.
Jeffrey Scott Baker.
Rachel Justine Kuntz.
Dalton James Balster.
Jeremy Scott LaFleur.
Abigail Sabo Behringer.
Matthew Lamarca.
Logan Andrew Basket.
Hannah Severa Latif.
Elena Amber Beard.
Alex John Lorzana.
Lucas Patrick Bean.
Luke Andrew Levin.
Jaquishalyn Jeriel Beckworth Brown.
Jessica Ku Lay.
Anna Lynn Bednarko.
Susan Trong Lay.
Grace Annalise Beneke.
Kelsey Elizabeth Lehman.
Anthony Michael Banksy.
Matthew Robert Laymasters.
Emma Lee Berry.
Maxwell Sean Lister.
Christopher Chase Biddle.
Catherine Marie Lagrasso.
Tyler Marie Biggs.
Lorenzo Arnez Loudon.
Ann Elise Billick.
Jordan Marie LaCour.
Brittany Charisse Blake.
Dion Cheyenne Macklin.
Corey Robert Blankenship.
Sean Patrick Maher.
Regan Nicole Blankenship.
Clifton T. Manna.
Alexandra Marie Boker.
Kyle Stephen Margold.
Abigail Marie Bowles.
Alexia Rose Marshall.
Riley Tate Brackney.
Alexander Scott Marthers.
Catherine Jane Brown.
Abigail Rose Martin.
Jamila Erica Bryant.
Drake Elliott Martin.
Tyler Joe Bryant.
Nicholas Martin March.
Jeremy Lee Buford.
Willie Lee Madison.
Joshua Dean Boonerkemper.
Morgan Renee Mayfield.
Lindsay Jean Boonerkemper.
Anne Christine McBaron.
Tara Michelle Bull.
John Patrick McCarthy.
Holly Ann Berg.
Blake Thomas McCombs.
Brittany Brianne Burton.
Tara Grace McDonald.
Jessica Lynn Burton.
Dalton Storm McGee.
Amber Lynn Busher.
Morgan Lucille McIntyre.
William Colin Butler.
Elena Meredith McKenzie.
Taylor Danielle Camacho.
Sunkayla Rose Miles.
John Michael Stewart Campus.
Sierra Nicole Miller.
Alexandra Mills Carney.
Madison Lynn Milling.
Morgan Lee Seja.
Kelly Marie Moeller.
Sloan Marie Chapman.
Wesley Richard Moore.
Jesse William Cisco.
Naisha Nicole Murray.
Alexa Paige Clark.
Cassidy Aaron Neely.
Drake Alexander Clark.
Isaiah Jarrell Nelson.
Connor Jeffrey Cody.
Tate Randolph Needlehofer.
Taylor Simone Cockrell.
Patrick McName Northrup.
Catherine Elizabeth Collins.
Joey Neal Norwood II.
William Allen Colwell II.
Caitlin Margaret Ness.
Elena Marie Conley Keck.
Jeremiah Orlandis Oates.
Mitchell Franklin Connolly.
Olushade Alario Odelay.
Gabrielle Anissa Connor.
Alexander Eugene Oliver.
Caitlin Jeanette Cook.
Stephen Michael Ortega.
Cassidy Marie Correa.
Brett Mackenzie Pappas.
Brody James Carell.
Cody Brian Parker.
Joseph Nathaniel Hawkeye Crockett.
Avery Guy Pearl.
Christopher Malott Crown.
DeAnthony Dwayne Taylor Perkins.
Kristen Ann Cullen.
Tanika Lanice Perkins.
Cameron Leanne Curran.
Shanquay Lorene Perry.
Abby Jane Dawson.
Kyle Gregory Pettis.
Mahalia Wynn Davis.
Hung Tran Phan.
Rebecca Jane Davis.
Denise Marie Pittman.
David Michael Dermy.
Henry William Porter.
Markybold M. Doe.
Jacob Robert Pulliam.
Ryan Joseph Dorr.
Holly Michelle Ramirez.
Regan Alexis Duffy.
Colton Keith Ramsey.
Timberland Alice Duncan.
Kevin James Riesel.
Oliver James Duvall.
Alicia Leigh Robinson.
Hannah Rose Eddington.
Nolan Anthony Rockford.
Addison Lee Elliott.
Claire Elizabeth Rogers.
Ian Christian Erickson.
Dalton Ray Ross.
Alikan Bolodovich Yeshimnikov.
Michael Earl Ross.
Mary Umbwa Iwa.
Benjamin Lauren Roth.
Genesis Olivia Falcon.
Samantha M. Sheik.
Catherine Louise Farrell.
Nicholas Emilio Schneider.
Megan Olivia Fetter.
Jordan Michelle Schoppenhorst.
Brittany Elizabeth Cheyenne Fitzgerald.
Tara Nicole Schroeder.
Kathleen Marie Fitzgibbon.
Christopher Michael Scott.
Jessica Rochelle Fix.
Tyler James Scott.
Michael O. Falayan.
Brandon Michael Siebold.
Anthony Terrell Frazier.
Shanton Donnell Slater II.
Dontrell Lamont Frazier.
Mackenzie Soul Small.
Rhiannon Ruth Freitag.
Demira Renee Marie Smith.
Andrew Paul Furman.
Lauren Amy Smith.
Anna Catherine Gates.
Shadayla Anise Smith.
Logan Thomas Gedominski.
Thomas Joseph Smith.
Maria Christine Genovese.
Trayvon Keandre Smith.
Walter William Gerhold.
William Kaufman Smith.
Alicia Renee Giedel.
Robert Petru Staff.
Lauren Ann Gill.
Troy Lee Stapleton.
Janique Nije Gleghorn.
Nakisha Orina Nicole Stevens.
Kevin Emmanuel Godfrey.
Robert Jamal Stevens.
Chantel Lynn Gorens.
Jeremiah Wayne Stout.
Amanda Claire Gottrich.
Nicholas Anthony Sullivan.
Joseph Carl Goff.
Essence Jade Sutton.
Matthew Aaron Graham.
Austin Nicholas Tate.
Joshua Gretschel.
Alexis Jeanette Taylor.
Vlada Nicole Gudzenko.
William Theodore Rudolph Teichman.
Shelby Eleanor Hoffertapi.
Morgan Marie Throop.
Stephen Charles Leroy Hoffertepe.
Brenna Marie Turney.
Hassan Lanif Hamdani.
Anthony Lee Tillard.
Jake Thomas Hamill.
James Andrew Torgeson.
Margot Helena Milda Hammers.
Antu Lei Tran.
Aaliyah Arwanda Hampton.
Ariel Alicia Treadwell.
James Thomas Hanlon.
Andrew Scott Van Cleve.
Dane Jerome Hansen.
Sarah Elizabeth Van Sant.
Alicia Marie Harper.
Emily Kale Vasconcells.
Lavarante James Harris.
Graham David Bose.
Lucy Ann Harris.
Madeline Maddox Wagner.
Xavier Jacob Harris.
Thomas Leland Walker.
Malik James Theodore Harrison.
Jasmine Lane Warren. Jasmine Wayne Lauren.
Corian DeMarco Hart.
Michaela Lynn Waters.
Mohammed Abdul Aziz Hassan.
Paige Elise Wernsing.
Sky Janae Hatcher.
Michael Lamole West.
Brandon McElmurray Havener.
Morgan Riley Wickham.
Kendrick Lee Hayes Jr.
Maury Ann Wilhelm.
Macy Tesenzo Helm.
Megan Mariah Wilkie.
Lauren Ashley Henderson.
Brianna Desiree Wilkins.
Robert Lowell Herpel.
Brittany Grace Willard.
Ryan Matthew High.
Cheyenne Renee Willett.
Maya Janae Hines.
Ashton Carnett Williams.
Alexander Benjamin Hodges.
James David Williams.
Brian Hoffman.
John Lavelle Williams Jr.
Tyler Lee Holmes.
Audrey Eva Wilton.
Zachary J. Homeyer.
Joshua Paul Winkler.
Brandon Zachary Horner.
Donald Maurice Womack Jr.
Colton Thomas Howard.
Alexander Winston Woodworth.
Yuchia Hu.
Ching Yu Wu.
Sierra Janice Hughes.
Catherine Widiono.
Christian Rashad Hunt.
Jahala Ayana Yokum.
Abby Lee Ioka.
Alice Elveski.
Evan Todd Irving.
Jack Henry Zenin.
Jonah Paul Isaiah Davenport. Gabrielle Joe Jackson.
Sarah Montgomery.
Allison Nicole Jacobs.
Jermaine Orlandis Oates.
Connor David Jacobs. Shanna Marquette Jensen. Erlene Jasmine Lynn Johnson. Makisha Mary Johnson. And Andrew James Jones.